What's up, guys? Mike the Cop, and recently, Randy Moss was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame down in Canton, Ohio. And I gotta say, I had a lot of respect as I listened to the induction speech. He talked about how important his faith was, he talked about how important his family was, and he even talked about the importance of carrying the responsibility that he had with eyes being on him as a professional athlete. For all of those things and for all of the hard work and dedication that he put into his career, I have much respect. However, something caught a lot of people's attention, and it was his tie? That's right. Under Randy Moss's suit jacket was a tie bearing the names of 13 individuals. On the website OK Player, it says Randy Moss wore the names of 13 police brutality victims at NFL Hall of Fame induction. The article would go on to say that the NFL all-timer brandishes a powerful statement under the golden coat. When asked about the tie, Moss told CBS Sports it was to, quote, honor black men and women killed by police, told Deadspin to commemorate victims of police brutality, and he told Yahoo it was to pay tribute to those killed by police violence. How about we take a look at these 13 names and talk about that, shall we?
I got you. Yeah, I will defend my brothers. I will defend the weak. I will pursue and fight evil so others may sleep. I am the sheepdog, protecting the night. Wolf hunters unite. Bring it on. It's time to fight.
Let's get right to it. 13 names on the tie. Were all 13 of these individuals victims of police brutality? Here we go. Greg Gunn, you mean the guy that was high on cocaine, was attempted to be tased 4 times with no effect, and then swung a metal pipe at the police? Tamir Rice, the kid that cut the orange safety tip off of a facsimile firearm and pointed it at people in a public space and got the police called on him? Paul O'Neill, the guy that was driving a stolen Jaguar, ran into 2 police cars, a parked car, and a police officer while he was running from them in said stolen Jaguar? Eric Garner, the guy that failed to comply with multiple peaceful requests to be taken into custody for illegal activity? Freddie Gray, you mean the guy that was arrested for having an illegal knife on him with a history of violence against the police, who also was seen by witnesses bashing his own head on the inside of a transport van, of whom all of the officers, the charges were dropped, and even the federal government investigation with African-American leadership at the helm found nothing to charge the officers with? Walter Scott, setting aside the fact that he initiated a fight with the police and resisting them, the guy that shot him, yeah, he's serving a 20-year sentence for second-degree murder. Sandra Bland, found hanged in her cell in jail, but I'm pretty sure it's not brutal to provide a blanket to someone who is in custody. Oh, and the officer that arrested her didn't like how he conducted himself on the traffic stop? Guess what? He was fired. Akil Dinkins, you mean the guy that had cocaine in his system and was not shot in the back like witnesses said, and also tried to disarm an officer while he was being arrested for felony drug charges? Alton Sterling, you mean the same Alton Sterling that had the police called on him because he was brandishing a firearm and threatening people with it outside of a convenience store while selling illegally pirated DVDs? When he resisted a lawful arrest, then tried to reach for a gun? Oh, classic. Michael Brown, you mean the guy that beat up a convenience store owner, robbed that said store, decided to then continue to break the law, was stopped by police, and then decided to resist lawful orders, attempt to disarm a police officer, and continue to fight with him even after that? The same Michael Brown that led to the hands up, don't shoot and the floors of Congress and the sidelines of sporting events everywhere that turned out to be a complete lie? Trayvon Martin is a name on that tie. Hey, was Zimmerman ever a police officer? No? Never? Okay. Brandon Glenn, the same Brandon Glenn that fought with bouncers outside of a club, and then when the police arrived, fought with the police, and then wrapped his hand around an officer's gun belt, and led to ultimately a shooting where an officer perceived that he might have been reaching for the other officer's gun. That's 12 of the 13 names. Let me be very clear. 12 of the 13 names, regardless of how you feel about the circumstances in the moment, all began with criminal activity. It started with people behaving criminally. and the police getting called to respond to them. In the one circumstance that was different, Akai Gurley, it was an accidental discharge or a disputed accidental discharge because the bullet ricocheted off of a wall and then struck him and unfortunately killed him. And the officer, who happens to be Asian, was also ultimately fired. And he was charged and convicted of criminally negligent homicide. To summarize, you can wear a tie that is a statement about police brutality, but if you're going to do so, you should probably pick names of people who may have actually been legitimate victims of police brutality. Those that were on that list had officers who were charged and serving sentences for their crime. All right, guys, by way of a quick wrap-up of this, I'm not gloating, I'm not excited that anyone has lost their lives. It's always unfortunate when a situation escalates to a point to where deadly force is what is the result. No matter who started it, it's nothing to be excited about. However, if we're going to have an honest conversation about alleged police brutality, then we're going to have to actually be honest about these circumstances, these names, what led to it, and what the outcome was. And that is where we can actually start to make changes, where changes need to be made, is being objective and being honest and being committed to that. So hopefully this is a good conversation starter down that path for something like this. Drop some comments below, ask any follow-up questions you want, have good, healthy conversation. Enjoy the hate comments. As always, like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification button. God bless America. Oh, and Randy Moss, you ever want to come on and talk? If you're ever in the Metro Detroit area, or if I'm where you're at, happy to sit down with you, happy to have a conversation.